I have lost many a night of sleep over people being upset with me. I remember times in my career where people would get mad, like, I know I've double booked a session, or whether it be that I just said something that was offensive, and I have had people get really mad at me at times, and it has been disabling for me. I mean, I've lost nights of sleep just feeling like I did something wrong and maybe I should have said something or done something differently than I did, and I really messed up. In the past, I have definitely had the problem of taking on false responsibility, and it impacted just the way that I saw myself, the way I was able to treat clients, and the way that I was able to relate to my friends and family members, because I would feel so guilty and ashamed. Even if it wasn't something that really was my fault, I would take on that responsibility. And it has taken a long time for me to figure out how to cope and deal with that experience of somebody being upset with me and just not knowing how to process and overcome that feeling of guilt, of false guilt and shame. So my name is Monica Maurer. I am a licensed therapist. I'm also the director of the Center for Transformation, and we exist to partner with therapists to help therapists enhance their personal and professional growth. This is a hard job. The job that we do as therapists, listening to people, helping them process their problems, helping them deal with the diagnoses in their life, family, relational issues, divorce, parenting, loneliness, their own shame, guilt, anger, frustration, traumas. We help clients deal with these issues all day, every day, and it is a big job. And we need to grow personally so that we can grow professionally, so that we can become all that we can be to help our clients. We have to be our best. And so I know that many of you know what I'm talking about when I say that false guilt, false responsibility sometimes is a big deal in our profession. And there are a few things that I've picked up along the way that I think could be helpful if you are or you've found yourself dealing with that. I know for myself in my personal journey, I've discovered that part of my issue has been that I had some upside down maturity going on. From a young age, I took on a lot of responsibility. I have a firstborn, and I tend to be more type A. I'm a 1 on the Enneagram. And I just have had a tendency from early on to take on a lot of responsibility. This tends to happen when a child feels like they're maybe feeling out of control because of situations in their home life, or maybe the abandonment of a parent, or just feeling like the parent isn't present or capable of caring in a responsible way for the family. And so sometimes that happens. And in my case, I took on a lot of responsibility at a young age for my well-being, for my personal, emotional safety. And I think that led me to a sense of false responsibility, that I ended up taking on the care and concern for a lot of people, not just myself. But I found that throughout my life, I tended to be, and I have tended to be, the primary caretaker for not just my family members, but also friends and my clients. And I do a pretty good job of it. I'm good at taking care of people. I'm good at tackling a lot. I'm good at juggling a lot of plates. And in my own growth and my own healing process, I've had to learn to step away from spinning all these plates at the same time, knowing that some could drop sometime, and that's not my responsibility. And actually me spinning these plates when some of these things are other people's responsibility is an unhealthy thing for me to do. And so I have learned over time that when a client is upset with me, it's not my responsibility. Now, I may still have an overwhelm response when I feel like someone's upset, but I can now process through it in my mind and say, I can't take on this false responsibility. I need to release it and allow this person to take the responsibility on their own for their response. And I think a really big piece of this in terms of responding in a healthy way when someone's upset is being able to stay relational with that individual, not vilify them or make them the enemy. The life model is a neurotheology approach to healing and relationships, and it is the model that I love and that I follow, and I'll talk so much about it in these episodes. But the life model talks a lot about making people more important than problems, actually connecting with people and valuing people more than you value or treat a problem as the most important thing in the situation. And so if we make people more important than problems, what happens is we can stay relational and upset. We can stay the person we want to be, even if they're upset with us. And we can not make it about us, right? Not make it about ourselves. I think in the past, that's really what would happen with me, is I would say, oh, this person's upset, and I would make it about my fear of what's going to happen, what are they going to say, what are they going to do, are they going to humiliate me, and I would go into a shame response, rather than saying, okay, something's going on with this person. If I can stay relational with them and kind to them, that could help them to stay connected and grounded themselves, and maybe we can get all the way through this issue and get to the other side. And I do believe that's a very hard thing to do, because one of the concepts is the most dominant brain in the room is going to propagate the skills. And so that is the final thing that I will mention, that as therapists, it's really hard for us because sometimes we're not the most dominant brain in the room. And by dominance, I don't mean in a bad way. We can have a gentle dominance and be the one that sets the mood, sets the energy, sets the vibe in the room. Or we can be an arrogant and dominant, a selfish dominance, and that vibe sets the room in terms of aggression and intensity in a negative way. And so as therapists, we want to have the gentle protector type of dominance that we are exerting in the room, not making that person's upset about us, but being able to stay relational and help them return to a place of joyful connection, and be able to talk to them even if they're upset with us about the problem. Being able to talk to them and relate to them, stay relational, take ownership for the things that we may have said and done that have caused them pain. Not false responsibility, but taking ownership, not being defensive, and being able to really just connect to them with a sense of authenticity and desire for the relationship to win. And that's really what we want. We want the relationship to win. People are more important than problems. And so this episode really has to do with, how can I not take false responsibility when there are moments when the client is upset with me and I feel overwhelmed by it? But how can I stay relational and upset, really caring for them without not caring for myself? So caring for both of us at the same time. So I look forward to seeing you again in an upcoming episode, and thank you for joining me today.